So I deal with a lot of clients, and the clients that I deal with, a lot of them, their children's edges are thinning, it's breaking, and they come to me for help because they don't know what to do or what is going on. And usually through the process, I'm able to identify what has caused the breakage and offer my help, my services to help them grow their little one's edges back. Now, in talking to these clients, I have identified 3 top reasons that come up time and time again, and these are the top reasons that I want to share with you to help you with your little one's edges, and hopefully to help your little one's edges grow back as well. Hey NC fam, welcome back to my channel. So if you don't know me, my name is Novella. I am the face, the voice behind Naturally Crowned UK, and on this channel you'll find kids natural hair care tips, advice and tutorials to help your little one's hair thrive like I know you want it to. Now I have a bonus tip for you at the end, so stay till the end of this video so you'll find out what that bonus tip is as well. So the first reason is that you are doing styles on your little one's hair that is just too tight. You don't have to do all of these styles that cause a lot of tension, and I'm sure some of you know what these styles are. All of these slick back, pulled back in all different direction, all of these small intricate styles, extensions that are heavy and cause tension on your little one's edges, all of these kind of styles, and these are just examples by the way, but all of these kind of styles will wreak havoc on your little one's edges. And some of your little ones are so young, by the time they get to their teenage years they're not going to have any edges left. Mamas, have you ever heard of traction alopecia? Traction alopecia is real. Now, for those who don't know what traction alopecia is hair loss caused by a strain on the hair follicles, and this is often from tight styles. So because of this continuous strain on the hair follicles, it literally pulls out the hair, and this can lead to damage, even permanent damage, if you're not careful. So it's better to stop it now while you can, rather than continuing to do these styles that will cause tension and then eventually lead to traction alopecia and then lead to permanent damage. You really want to avoid that. Now for me, I always tell the mamas that I work with that presentable is the goal. Your little one's head doesn't have to be neat all the time. I mean, they're children, especially if you have like children in nursery or reception. They're so young, for example, they're playful, they're not going to keep their hair neat. Even if you try and make their hair look neat, I mean, I'm not sure about you, but the countless times I have picked my children up from nursery or reception and the way they went to school is completely different from how they look when I pick them up. Why is that? Because they're kids. They don't care about their hair like you do. I mean, eventually as they get older they will start to care about their hair, but for now they don't care as much as you do. So please mamas, don't obsess about having neat looking styles all the time. It is detrimental to your little one's edges. Keep it presentable. Presentable doesn't necessarily mean messy, but presentable. But all of these edge controls and the brushing, using harsh brushes on the edges to sleek it, pull it back, I mean, it's a lot of pressure, one, and it's just not needed. It's really not needed at this young tender age. And their follicles, their follicles are so delicate, the scalp is so delicate, their hairline especially is very delicate, so there's no need for all of this. If you're doing a particular style and you notice like tension bumps or bumps around your little one's hairline or edges, this is a sign that you need to take it out as soon as possible. Otherwise, they will experience breakage on their hairline or their edges. So my advice would be just to keep it simple and tension free. So doing styles like twists, plaits, bantu knots, for example, even flat twists. So the next reason is that your little one's edges is dry. Yes, it's dry. I always say to the mamas that I work with that don't forget your little one's edges or your little one's hairline. It's part of their hair. So for example, as you're moisturizing your little one's hair, don't forget the edges. As you're conditioning and shampooing your little one's hair, don't forget the edges. The edges also need moisture. The edges also need to be cleansed. The edges also need conditioning. It's part of your little one's hair, so don't forget that when you're moisturizing. And remember, when you're creating a regime for your little one, you want to make sure that you're creating a regime that also has good hair care practices, and just an effective regime for their hair and also for their edges. When I create regimes for the mamas that I work with, I make sure that their regime is effective enough to help with the edges and also the rest of the hair. So like I said, with moisturizing, with conditioning, all of that, you have to remember your little one's edges as well. Now on that note of an effective regime, if you don't have an effective regime for your little one, if you're struggling to create a regime for your little one, you don't know where to start, how to start, don't worry mamas, I have created a free guide for you. All you need to do is to click the link below this video so you can access the free guide and you can then create an effective regime for your little one in order for their hair to thrive. So what I've noticed with my clients' bonnets, for example, is they aren't the correct size. So as they're sleeping, the bonnets are shifting backwards, which is exposing the hairline or the edges. And as it's exposed and as they're sleeping on their, cotton pillowcase, it is rubbing against there, causing friction and also causing breakage. So what I would suggest is to get a bonnet your little one's size. Now again, you don't want the bonnet to be tight around the band, around the hairline, or sitting on the hairline itself, because that can also cause some tension and may cause breakage. So you want to get a good size fit, but you don't want the fit to be too tight. I mean, for my children, they wear bonnets, so I make sure I move their bonnets to the forehead so it's sitting just above their eyebrows rather than on their hairline exactly. It's just sitting above their eyebrows. And for me, in the morning when they wake up, it's still in that same position. It may have shifted back slightly, but not all the way back past their hairline or sitting on their hairline. And I find that works amazing for my children, especially just shifting their bonnet slightly forward so that their edges aren't exposed. Another common thing that I've seen with my clients' bonnets is that they have a bonnet that is satin. By the way, I'm talking about satin or silk bonnets. So they have satin or silk everywhere else apart from the rims. So apart from the outer, the border of the bonnet, the border of the bonnet is a different fabric which isn't satin or silk. And I've noticed that with this fabric, because it's not satin or silk, it can cause dryness and suck the moisture from there. It's also rubbing against the edges and can cause friction and can cause breakage. So what I always advise my clients is, if you prefer the bonnets that have the band, you want to make sure that the band is actually satin or silk as well to match the rest of the bonnet, if that makes sense. So for example, my children, again, they have that style of bonnet too. So the style of bonnet that has a band, a thick band going around, for my children's bonnets, it is satin as well as the rest of the bonnet. So when they're wearing that, again, it sits on their forehead rather than on the hairline itself. And because it's satin or silk, it's helping to retain that moisture around the edges. It's not drying out and their edges isn't causing friction on that particular material, which is going to cause breakage eventually. So it could even be that your little one isn't even wearing a bonnet at all, so there's nothing that your little one's wearing. If that's the case, I definitely suggest you get a bonnet following the advice I've said previously, because you want to make sure that your little one's edges as well as the rest of their hair is being protected from their cotton sheets, cotton pillowcases, just to avoid any friction, any rubbing or any moisture loss. Is really, really important. So invest in a good quality bonnet that covers their hairline, that doesn't sit on the hairline but mainly on the forehead. And if it has a band, you want to make sure that the band is satin or silk as well to match the rest of the bonnet. And if you're doing that, your little one's edges should be okay. Okay, so don't forget to download your free guide. If you are struggling with your little one's regime, click the link below this video to download your free guide that's going to help you to create an effective regime for your child so that your child's hair and edges can thrive like I know you want it to. Okay, so now for my bonus tip. I know you've been waiting for this, so this is the bonus tip. The next thing that could be breaking off your little one's hairline or edges or making it thin out is elastic bands. Yes, elastic bands. This is something that a lot of moms use. I mean, even I use elastic bands. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't have an issue with elastic bands per se. If it's used the right way, so it's not tied too tightly, if you're cutting them out with scissors and also not using them too frequently, possibly soaking them in a little bit of oil before you use them, that's fine. But like I said, it's important that you're not tying the elastic bands tight, not doing them frequently, and also making sure that you cut them out with scissors. Now, if your little one's edges is thinning or breaking anyway, I don't advise using elastic bands at all. Now, what I've noticed with my clients that their little one's edges is breaking or thinning is that they're using elastic bands on their children's hair back to back, because of course they want their children's hair to look neat, you know, so they use their elastic bands, they tie it around tightly so many times, and they do this style repeatedly. Then they start to notice that their little one's edges is thinning, and this is the reason why. It's because you're doing the elastic bands too tight, you're doing it frequently, and also you're probably not even removing elastic bands the right way. Instead of cutting them out, you are trying to unravel it, and then the hairs are getting caught in the elastic band. So if you are doing this, if your little one's edges or hairline has already been compromised, I say stay away from elastic bands in the first place. If you're going to use elastic bands, use them sparingly, so not often, but I would suggest staying away from elastic bands if your little one's edges is already breaking off or thinning. Give it a rest, give it a break. Later on, if you want to, use it the right way and not often, and you should be okay. So if you enjoyed this video, you're gonna love my next video over here, why your baby's hair is dry and how to fix it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and share if anyone you feel may benefit from watching. Take care. Bye.